Today, the family of Devon Gregory and Bishop Tavis Grant of the Rainbow Push Coalition are in Jacksonville demanding an investigation into the teenager's death. Now, Gregory died in early November during a traffic stop along San Juan Avenue. The medical examiner's office says that Gregory shot himself before 4 JSO officers fired at him. Now, there has been body camera video released of this. Let's listen in to what they're saying.
Majority Women's March, Jacksonville, the Black Commission, the Jacksonville Progressive Action Committee, Jacksonville Progressive Coalition, Black Lives Matter Jacksonville, FHC Live Church, Pastor Kim Pullings, Black Lives Matter 5K, Tanisha Crisp, Curtis and Company for Children Gone Too Soon, Patricia Ward, the accidental activist out of Gainesville, Larry, an activist as well, is here with us today. Clyde McLemore, Black Lives Matter, Lake County Chapter. We've got Bishop Tavis Grant, Rainbow Push Coalition, and of course, joining us also, Attorney Kevin O'Connor, the O'Connor Law Firm, as well as family members representing Devon Tillman Gregory. Before I go any further, who did I leave out? We got many activists also, including Derek DeWitt is here with us locally, and many other organizations. Essentially, we have more than a dozen civil rights organizations represented here today. I'd like to summarize to you why we're here. We're here calling on the entire city of Jacksonville to celebrate the life of Devon Gregory, which was cut short by police bullets on November 17th, approximately 3 weeks ago, in what we consider to be a very questionable and controversial police-involved shooting. We're also here to protest police-involved shootings, not only here in Jacksonville, but throughout the entire United States of America. We feel like there's a tremendous lack of trust between JSO and the black community. We feel like the 280,000 residents who happen to be people of color in this city are being subjected to unlawful stops, unlawful searches, unlawful arrests, talking while black, walking while black, driving while black. We think it's absolutely ludicrous that we are being over-policed like that here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. We are asking this city to explain why a group of young black folks driving away from a job would be stopped to begin with. We remind you all that racial profiling is unconstitutional. More pointedly, we asked the question in the case of Devon Gregory, why did it take 4 police officers who had 4 tasers, 2 police dogs, to shoot 35 bullets to stop a man that they say had already killed himself? We think it's questionable, we think it's controversial, and quite frankly speaking, we're calling for an independent investigation to be conducted by federal authorities, not simply by people in Jacksonville who are all friends and buddies with each other and who bowl and barbecue with each other. We think that to have this investigation conducted by local authorities is a case of the fox guarding the henhouse, that these internal investigations are both questionable and controversial. To speak a little bit more on that, we are joined today by Kevin O'Connor of the O'Connor Law Firm, Chicago, who is representing the family of Devon.
So there you have been listening to a press conference along with the family of Devon Gregory. You can see a lawyer for his family is about to go up and speak. You can continue watching that on firstcoastnews.com, but you can see there that they are asking for an independent investigation done by people outside of the sheriff's office, outside of Duval County, and we'll keep you updated with more. You can join us tonight at 5 o'clock as well for more on that.